Welcome to your A to Z guide to the 2021 United States Grand Prix. Returning to the calendar after a one-year layoff, the Circuit of the Americas is back as Formula One heads to the Lone Star State for round 17 of this year's championship. To get you ready for this weekend's race, this video will provide you with all the info you need to know, such as the track facts, race history, weather forecast, and the news heading into the US Grand Prix weekend. Before we start breaking down the circuit, we'd like to recommend checking out our latest podcast, in which we discuss Formula One's rise and growth in North America and chat about a lot of relevant topics ahead of F1's return to the United States. The Circuit of the Americas first opened its doors to F1 back in 2012 and has seen a positive growth in popularity amongst drivers and fans ever since. The anti-clockwise circuit has taken inspiration from many other iconic F1 tracks, such as Silverstone and Istanbul, in order to give the drivers a fun but challenging racetrack. The 5.5-kilometer circuit is made up of 20 corners overall, 11 that go to the left and 9 that go to the right. The drivers take the sequence from turns 2 to 7 at an average speed of over 250 kilometers per hour, making this one of the most sensitive tracks in terms of downforce. This is why COTA sits at the higher end of the downforce spectrum. The pole sitter for Sunday's race will start on the right-hand side of the grid, with the distance to the first braking zone being only 240 meters. With COTA being tied for the fourth most corners on a track this season, it's one of the busiest laps with 56 gear changes per lap and an average lap time at full throttle of 62%. Another unique feature to the Circuit of the Americas are the elevation changes on the track. The steep rise to turn 1 is the biggest single corner elevation change of the year, with a 30-meter climb and just over 200 meters of track. This is half the height of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. For comparison, COTA's observation tower measures in at 77 meters tall. The United States has hosted Formula One races at 10 different venues, which is the most of any country in the sport's history. At the Circuit of the Americas, the most successful constructor to date is Mercedes, who have really enjoyed Austin, Texas since its debut. They have won 62% of all-time races with 5 out of 8 victories, and they are the only team to have won more than once around COTA. Coming behind them, you have Ferrari, who are the most recent team outside of Mercedes to have won at this track, and then Red Bull and McLaren, who each took a win back in the V8 era. Out of the current drivers, Lewis Hamilton has dominated COTA, taking 5 out of the 8 wins in Texas, and also being the inaugural winner back in 2012. The only other current drivers to have won in Austin are Valtteri Bottas, who won the last USGP in 2019, Kimi Räikkönen, whose famous most recent F1 win came here in 2018, and then Sebastian Vettel, who took victory here back in 2013. With COTA's unique run down to turn 1, we often see some very exciting lap 1s with plenty of drama. The best starting position if you want to win around the Circuit of the Americas is going to be on the front row. All 8 US Grand Prix winners have started either first or second, with the chances of victory being split evenly at 50%. No driver has won from outside of the top 2 in 8 races at COTA. The chances of seeing a safety car on Sunday are about half, with a 37% historical rate of a safety car deployment at the Circuit of the Americas. Here you can find the start times for practice, qualifying, and the race in local Austin, Texas time, and some other time zones around the world. Let's start by looking at the tentative forecast for Austin, Texas this weekend. So far, the weekend is looking pretty good around the Circuit of the Americas, with a high of 30 degrees across the board. There is a slight chance of rain on Saturday and Sunday, but no major rain expected at the moment, but at this time of year in Austin, Texas, the weather could change quickly. Moving on to the tires. There have been some changes to COTA since 2019, but Pirelli are sticking with the middle range of compounds with the C2, C3, and C4 tires. The track underwent partial resurfacing in 2020, so about 40% of its length is now new tarmac. Keep in mind, COTA puts a lot of lateral stress on the tires, but the track hasn't been used much recently, so it will be fairly green throughout the weekend. Let's now look at the rest of your weekend notes for the 2021 US Grand Prix. That will wrap up this edition of the A to Z Guide, and we hope you enjoy the 2021 United States Grand Prix this weekend. Of course, as usual, drop your race predictions and favorites for this weekend down below in the comments section. If you'd like more content ahead of this race weekend, be sure to check out our two-part Motorsport in North America podcast series found in the video description down below and also the homepage on our channel. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.